Indiana basketball stays on the road, taking on USC tonight in a late tip in Southern Cal, and their tournament hopes ride on this performance.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day and the nation's #1 sports podcasting network. So thank you so much for making that so we truly could not do what we do without you. Today's episode is brought to you by Mazda. We put the same drive into every detail, the wins that define the moment, putting the work. Okay, that defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Well, a full-on basketball show today here on Locked On Hoosiers, as what would a win tonight mean for Indiana? Plus, it's another quad one opportunity. How do you get it done? Why can you get it done? And what happens if you do? As Indiana and USC. It's the Hoosiers and the Trojans. For just the second time in this century, they will do battle on the hardwood. And Indiana's playing on the campus of Southern Cal for the first time since World War II. Yeah, since the early 40s, Indiana playing a true road game against Southern California. And this is not a rivalry by any means. They played for the first time in the 2000s. Last year, USC came to Bloomington. Hoosiers got a comfortable win. That's the first time they had played since the 70s. Okay, this is not a unique. This is not a common matchup. This is indeed a unique matchup between Indiana and USC. And you have two coaches who are very different, but have some similarities too. People forget that Eric Musselman is the head coach at Southern Cal. He's the guy who was at Arkansas, really brought the Razorbacks back to relevancy in Fayetteville, and then surprisingly bolted for Southern California. Now, it worked out that they're called Southern Cal because Cal's who took over at Fayetteville for Arkansas, for Musselman there for the Hawks. Weird stuff there, but I think Musselman's a very good coach. I think he's somebody who gets the most out of his players. He's a fiery guy. He's going to let you know what he's thinking, and I think you're seeing a little bit of that from Darian Devries right now on the sidelines. And I think you saw that, felt that, and heard that from him in the game on Saturday against UCLA. And that's where I start with today's show, because your tournament hopes revolve around this game tonight. It's a late tip in Southern Cal. This is a 10 o'clock Eastern time tip, and that's terrible. That's horrible. That goes to show how broken this whole conference realignment stuff is. The fact that this is a 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central tip for Indiana on the road at Southern California. Terrible in my opinion, but the Hoosiers cannot be impacted by that. You cannot be affected by that. And thankfully, you've been in California for several days now. You're probably adjusted and you're going to feel okay. So I don't think that has any major impact here. But I do believe that Indiana's tournament hopes revolve around this game. Notice I didn't say rely. Notice I didn't say this is a must-win game. If you lose it, Indiana's terrible. Indiana's out. You can just put the season away and move on to next year. I'm not going that far. Okay, I'm not. But I do believe that a win like this would go a very long way. The UCLA game did. That absolutely is going to go a long way on your NCAA tournament resume. You will look back on that game when the committee is debating if you should make it or what seed you should be or where you should go. They will look at that game and say, that was a nice win for Indiana. We need to take that into consideration. You have another chance to do that here tonight against USC. This is a quad one opportunity. This is a game that if Indiana wins, if they build on the momentum, they keep their winning streak alive, this is another quad one tournament resume building win. And I understand that we're just kind of getting into the flow of basketball. I know it's the start of February, but we've been high on football fever, and understandably so. I want to remind folks on what a quad one, quad two, quad three, quad four game win and record is, because I understand that some people may not know, or you may have forgotten. You're like, dude, what the heck are you talking about with quads? Okay. I don't know anything about that. I just know that's a place that I lived in college. Okay. Here's what it is. You pull up the net rankings in college basketball. You've got the Torvik rankings, you've got KenPom, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and you've got the net rankings. And the net rankings basically take your record plus the record of the teams you play, who you beat, and where you beat them. Okay, you have quad one, quad two, quad three, and quad four. The quad one wins and really just your quad one record is what is most important. That is the most important one. And it's a little funky, it's a little wonky because it truly does depend on where you play a team. What you need to know is the top 75 teams in the net, which Indiana and USC both are. USC is 50th, okay? They're actually 48th. Sorry, they're 50th in KenPom. They're 40th in the net ranking, 48th in the net ranking. 50 in KenPom, 48 in the net. So what that means is this is a quad one game, because teams who are ranked 1 through 30 that you play at home are considered a quad one game. Teams that are ranked 1 through 50 on a neutral site are considered a quad one game. And teams ranked 1 through 75 that you play on the road are considered a quad one game as well. So UCLA on the road, they are 40, mid 40s. Yep, that's a quad one game. USC 48th on the road. Yep, that's a quad one game. And here's what's crazy about the tournament committee. Okay, this is why this game is important. This is why just playing in this game is important tonight, because they have proven in their selection process, and I don't agree with this, it's just what they do. They don't even care if you have a winning record in quad one games. They just want you to play them. They just want you to have them on your schedule, on your resume. And that's really all that they care about. Good news is Indiana's played a ton of them. You've played 8 so far. You're only 2-6, but the tournament committee looks at that and says, that's the team we want. They've played quality opponents. We respect that. You can take that for what it is, and you can agree or disagree with that. I think it's kind of a dumb philosophy, but that's how they roll. Tonight will be another one of those games. And you have a chance to win this game tonight and build your tournament resume and continue to prove that you belong in March. That's what's up for grabs tonight. That is what Indiana can do. You coming on a 3-game win streak. You're coming off a dramatic, exhausting win against UCLA. Can you build on that? Can you add to that? And can you wrap up this West Coast trip and come home to Bloomington and prepare for the Wisconsin Badgers? All of that is what's at stake here this evening. That sounds like a lot for a game on a random Tuesday night against Southern California, but I think that's how serious this game is, and I think that's how serious Indiana needs to treat this game tonight. Big challenge for the guys on the floor, and an even bigger challenge for Darian Devries on the sidelines as the head coach. We'll talk more about Indiana and Southern Cal. Dive into this a little bit, why this game is important, how Indiana can win it, and what it means moving forward. All of that here on today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Stick around. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Mazda. This is Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen. There's always a play. There's always a moment. There's always a performance that we can look back on in a win and say that was it. You're going to need several of them tonight against Southern California, and hopefully the Trojans don't have some of these themselves, but we continue to highlight Reed Bailey and Nick Dorn. Nick Dorn had one of the highest scoring games of his career. Reed Bailey had one of the best games of his season at Indiana, and you needed both of them in a double overtime win over UCLA. These types of performances remind us of what it really takes to raise the bar. It's that extra work off the court, dialing in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, and the I never quit. We put that same passion into every model at Mazda. Highlights make the reel. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. All right, welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. And hey, make sure you check out our Locked On Everydayer Club. We have that link for you in the description below. You can get this show's audio ad-free every single day for just $5 a month. That's worth it to me. Plus, you're going to get special access to some merch stores for us for Locked On, access to our Discord server, which is a big group chat with a bunch of Indiana fans. All of that for $5 a month. So if you're an everydayer and you love what we do and you just want a little bit more, $5 a month, you get all that and then some. Check out the description in the comments below on YouTube or on the audio version as well. And thank you so much again for being here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That is free. That is easy. Just takes a tap of your thumb. We're growing like crazy over here, folks. I'll give you an update since I haven't shared this on the channel in a while. We're over 8,200 subscribers, man. 8,200 on this channel is unbelievable to think about. So thank you so much for doing that. Also, thank you for those of you who follow us on your audio podcasting platforms. You have those notifications turned on and you're sharing this with your family and friends as well. So keep doing those things. It truly does help. And I really appreciate you being a part of the show. Indiana and USC. Hoosiers and Trojans tonight. Late tip on the West Coast in Los Angeles. Betting odds have this as USC about a 1.5 favorite. And this has not really moved, okay? This has not really moved. It's about a 1.5 with our friends at FanDuel. And I guess I understand it. I guess I get it, right? USC's at home. You're talking about two very similar teams, right? Indiana, 15-7 on the year, 6-5 in Big Ten play. USC 16-6 on the year, 5-6 in Big Ten play. Here's what USC has been up to as of late. Okay, you talk about an inconsistent team in Big Ten play. Talk about a team that you just can't get a read on. Okay, their first two games back in December of conference play, right? Remember how the Big Ten works? There's too many teams. The schedule's too long, so they have to play two games midway through December, play some more non-conference games, and then pick back up with a Big Ten restart. I hate it, but it is what it is. They beat Oregon by 5. Oregon is not good, but that was still a team in Oregon that was somewhat stuck together with, Band-Aids and glue and rubber and what else. Also, they lost to Washington, who is not great. They're 4-7 right now in Big Ten play. Had a couple of more games, and then the Big Ten restart happened. Okay, they went on the road to Michigan when Michigan was playing their best basketball, and that did not go well. They stayed in the state of Michigan and played Michigan State. That also did not go well. But then they hit a little bit of an easier stretch. They went to Minnesota and won, which Indiana couldn't do. They hosted Maryland and won. Okay, fine. They ran with Purdue for 40 minutes and had that game and Purdue on the ropes and couldn't close it out. They did lose to Northwestern at home, which isn't pretty. They beat Wisconsin, which is a good win. They lost on the road to Iowa, which, we've been there. And then they beat Rutgers coming into this game. So you've gone working backwards here. Win, loss, win, loss, loss. You've won 2 of your last 5 games. This USC team is not all that crazy. Okay, I talked about KenPom a little bit earlier just to give you an idea of where this team stands. The Trojans are 50th in KenPom. Not great, not terrible. They're not a tournament team right now, in my opinion, based off the numbers, based off the stats, and based off the eye test, which if you are an everydayer, that's what I go off of more than anything is my personal feeling and my personal sight of what I see from a basketball team. USC is not a tournament team. But they are better defensively than I thought they were. I was not aware that the numbers at least say they're a decent defensive team. Their defensive rating on KenPom is 46th in the nation. Not too bad. Offense is 73rd. So they are a below average P4 team. That's what USC brings into this thing tonight. As of late, gave up 75, 73, 71, 74, 69, 71, 69. So they have cracked down defensively, but their games have not been all that difficult. And I'm going to be honest with you, other than Michigan and Michigan State, they have not played an offense like Indiana. If the Hoosiers can operate the way that we're supposed to, if Indiana can continue to share the basketball the way we have been, right? I think, what was it? Without looking at it, 22 of 28, right? 28 made baskets, 22 assists on those, I think was the final number against UCLA. If Indiana can continue to move the basketball, move without the basketball, communicate offensively, run some sets, and pass up a good shot for a better shot, and sometimes a better shot for a great shot, Indiana's going to win this game. Indiana could run away with this game, even though USC's defense is actually pretty darn good. I just don't think they've seen the offensive firepower that Indiana has the potential to bring in this game. Now, some of you say, well, why'd you say it like that? Because we've seen this team, and we've seen Indiana at its very best. We've seen Indiana at its very worst. And sometimes it comes from day to day. It comes from game to game, from week to week, to month. You really just don't know. And USC, given the numbers, they might just be the team to throw you off your game a little bit. I do find it, I guess, not surprising. Again, they are at home. The fact that they're favored, right? But they're favored by 1.5. This is basically a pick 'em, right? For a team on the road like Indiana. Here are the guys you need to worry about. All right, you need to worry about Ezra Ausar. He is their forward. He's 6'9", 230. He's a big dude. That will be the assignment for Reed Bailey and or Sam Alexis, right? Remember us talking about defending without fouling? Yeah, that's going to be important tonight. That's going to be important tonight for him and for going up against Jacob Cofie as well, who's 6'10", 230. So they've got two big dudes who could give Indiana trouble this evening. That does concern me. This is a team that rebounds and grabs about 37 of them a game. Those two guys that I just mentioned, they average about 13 together a game. This is a moment for Reed Bailey and Sam Alexis to show that they can hang down low on both ends of the floor. Can we get aggressive Reed Bailey tonight? Can we get a dribbling Reed Bailey? How about that? I don't think I highlighted that enough the other day when talking about this basketball team and talking about Reed Bailey, especially our moving the game forward segment with Mazda. Like, you see, he's got the potential. And in terms of Ausar and Cofie guarding outside the painted area, brother, they don't have that. They can't guard Reed Bailey if he catches the ball on the wing and puts it on the hardwood. They can't stay in front of that. They're either going to foul him or he goes by him. That's the aggressive Reed Bailey I want to see tonight. Sam Alexis, kind of the same way, more so putting on moves in the lane. And maybe, just maybe, USC crashes that. Maybe they bring extra help from the weak side or even the strong side. And then he becomes a facilitator, which I think Sam Alexis has the ability to do. That opens up shooters, and this is where Indiana has to shoot well on the road, right? What did Indiana's final tally become the other day against UCLA on the road from behind the arc? It was not great, right? Indiana didn't just light it up from three the other night. 32%, 11 of 34. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you got to shoot better than that tonight. I'm going to say you got to knock down maybe the same amount of threes. 11's pretty good. That's 33 points. That's nearly a third of what you scored in this game, but you can't have that many misses because USC is a team that will get out in transition. Okay, they are a team that will push the basketball in terms of their tempo. They like to get out and run. Chad Baker Mazara is the guy that you need to know. All right, those are the two bigs. Chad Baker Mazara is the name you need to know. He averages almost 19 points a game, 4 boards, 3 assists. He averages a block a game, a steal a game. He shoots it well. He's 90% from the free throw line, 37% from behind the arc. He is the one that makes them go with the basketball in his hands. My question is, who guards him? Whose assignment is that? Most people would say, oh, well, that's Enright. We're good. Just put him on there. He's fine. He'll make it work. The problem is Chad Baker is 6'7", 170 pounds. He's a skinny thing, but he's long and lengthy and is aggressive with the basketball in his hands. I don't know if I trust our boy on him. Tucker, unfortunately, is not going to be able to stay in front of him. What a game this would be for Tate and Conaway to come back. Don't know if that's going to happen. So it might be a group effort. Maybe Nick Dorn. That's a possibility, but I don't want Nick Dorn to get in foul trouble either. So that's going to be a key point too. Who can stop Chad Baker Mazara? Who can at least slow him down? He's also very emotional. He is very hot at times. He's somebody who will blow up. He will boil over. Maybe Indiana leans into that a little bit. I don't know. Other than that, those are pretty much it. Those are pretty much the three guys you need to worry about. They got a couple of other guys. Jordan Marsh, somebody who I know has missed some time as of late. But I'm telling you, man, those are the three guys. If Indiana can hold their own in the lane and slow down Chad Baker, make some threes on the offensive end, defend without fouling, communicate, pass the ball, share the ball, whatever, I think Indiana's in a pretty good spot here. And I mentioned at the top that this game is important for Indiana in terms of making the NCAA tournament. I'll tell you why, what this win would do, and how you can stack it moving forward in your schedule. We talk about that right after this. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed sponsored jobs is the move. Because instead of just hoping that the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria, like skills, certifications, and location. Look, if I was hiring, I wouldn't just want somebody who's willing to help, who's looking for work, who's desperate for a job. That's not what you want. You want someone who fits what you're looking for, who has the skill set, who has the experience that can jump right in and be a benefit to you almost immediately. So here's the stat, really, that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed's data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed-sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show, Locked On Hoosiers, will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. If you're hiring, do it the right way. Use Indeed. All right, final segment here on today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Again, thank you so much for being here, supporting the show, however you do so, and a special shout out to all of my everydayers. And just kind of final thoughts here on Indiana and USC. First time we've done a full basketball show in quite some time, and it's nice. It's refreshing. It's good to really start focusing on this Indiana basketball team who has really turned a corner and is one of the hottest teams in the Big Ten, I guess, and on a 3-game win streak. That says more about the Big Ten Conference than it does Indiana per se. But we have not, at least as of this recording, Joe Lunardi has not updated his bracketology on Monday night, late Monday night. He very well could do so Tuesday morning, and that's not going to help me at all. But we did talk about Indiana, right? As the latest version came out on Friday, the Hoosiers were the last team in as an 11 seed in the play-in game in Dayton, Ohio, right? They will have moved up in his next update because of the win against UCLA. Remember, that is a quad 1 win. And that's what the NCAA tournament looks for. They look that you play those games, then they look that you win those games. And Indiana did just that. So I'm thinking you're probably a 9 or a 10 seed at this point. You probably moved up to a 9 seed with that win. You could secure that today, or even move up to an 8 seed if you beat this USC team. Because basically by the metrics, USC and UCLA are not all that far apart, right? Kim Pom says UCLA is 39, USC is 50. Also says in terms of the net that UCLA is 44, Southern Cal's 48. So they see these two games, these two teams, and what could be these two wins as basically equal. The thing you don't want to do tonight is lose this game to USC and basically give back the hard-earned win you got on Saturday against UCLA. Would you be happy with a split like this on the road? In hindsight, probably. Yeah, probably. Zooming out, grand scheme of things, yeah. You'd probably, at least going on the trip, 3-game win streak, you're like, yeah, just win one. Those are good teams. You're on the road. We've played like crap away from Assembly Hall. Just win one. But of course, as we do as greedy fans, we win the first one. It's like, we'll win the second one. We want the next one. We want to be on a big win streak. We want to feel good about this. We want to build and keep going. I get it. I absolutely get it. But we're not allowed to be that greedy. But I think Indiana can absolutely win this thing. And gosh, if you do, man, and we wrap up with this here today. If you win this game tonight against USC late tip, you come home and you play host to Wisconsin on Saturday morning inside of Assembly Hall. Where does Wisconsin sit right now? They are 41st in the net. So technically, that is not a quad one game because it's at home and they're outside the top 30. I don't care what the net says in that matchup. Wisconsin is a good basketball team. They are 8-3. They are top third in the Big Ten standings right now. And they're on a 2-game little turnaround heater, a team that lost to this USC team, by the way, who also has just been on a tear in Big Ten play, man. I mean, they are playing good basketball, so I don't care what the metrics say there. But my point is, you could be on a 4-game win streak, coming home with Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 days to hang out, chill out, reset, refresh, and get ready to go for an early tip against the Badgers inside of a jam-packed Assembly Hall on Saturday. Doesn't that sound fun to you? Doesn't that sound exciting to you? Doesn't that build some momentum for this Indiana team? Where you take down a solid Wisconsin team, hopefully you blast just an abysmal Oregon team, and all of a sudden, you're on a 6-game winning streak when you go on the road to Champaign to a team playing very good with a trip to Champaign and a trip to West Lafayette. You steal one of those and hit the backstretch just absolutely on fire. This team has a chance to hit that stride right now. You're in it, and you build on it tonight with a win against USC. I'm telling you, man, I can feel it. Something switched. Something happened in that game against UCLA. And if we can see that spark tonight, if we can see this Indiana team blow on the flame, get it going, and let this thing roar, the Hoosiers have a chance to go on a run and really make some noise in the Big Ten and get to the NCAA tournament. That's what I believe. That's what I believe can happen. But a win tonight is what sparks all of that. Saturday was great. It's time to build on that and see what else you can do. Indiana, USC tonight, late tip-off, but don't worry, we will be live here on Locked On Hoosiers on the YouTube channel immediately following the game. So make sure that you come right back here, turn on those notifications, subscribe so you don't miss it. It'll be late, I know. Maybe you want to call in and just cough a little bit. You're sick, man. Tell the boss, man, you gotta come in a little bit late because you're staying up a little bit late to watch the Indiana game and then join us on the live show of Locked On Hoosiers. But we are back tonight for a live show and then a normal show tomorrow, Hoosier fans. So until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.